Blinding lights, massive trophies, and godlike physiques. But behind the iron lies a terrifying reality that few dare to speak about. Welcome to the dark side of professional bodybuilding. These are the top 10 most shocking bodybuilder downfalls, catastrophic injuries, and tragic physical declines in history. Number 1. Callum von Moger. Once dubbed the modern-day Arnold Schwarzenegger, Australian bodybuilder Callum von Moger seemed destined to conquer the fitness industry. With his broad shoulders, tiny waist, classic proportions, and Hollywood charisma, he quickly gained millions of followers and even landed the role of a young Arnold Schwarzenegger in the film Bigger. But his fast rise to stardom was followed by an equally fast downward spiral. The tragedy began during an unsafe stunt, when Callum attempted to tandem bicep curl a 405-pound barbell with another lifter, tearing his left bicep completely and requiring surgery. Shortly after recovering, a cliff-rappelling accident caused him to slide down a cliff face, tearing his quad tendon and dislocating his knee. Losing his dream physique, constant surgeries, and forced inactivity sent Callum into a dark emotional spiral. Over the next few years, his personal life unraveled, marked by mental health struggles, erratic behavior, and legal issues. The climax came when he fell from a second-story window at his home, suffering severe spinal injuries and spending weeks in intensive care. In just a few years, one of the most promising physiques in the world saw his body, his career, and his dreams completely torn apart. Number 2. Paul Dillett. Standing 6'2" and weighing nearly 300 pounds shredded, Canada's Paul Dillett was one of the most terrifying, freakish mass monsters of the 1990s era. Known as Frankenstein, Dillett had a combination of muscle density, paper-thin skin, and vascularity that left fans and judges spellbound whenever he hit a pose. But his drive to present the driest, most massive conditioning possible led directly to one of the most horrifying live incidents in sports history. During the 1994 Arnold Classic, a nightmare unfolded in front of thousands of live audience members. Severe dehydration combined with extreme diuretic use had stripped Dillett's body of essential electrolytes, causing every muscle fiber in his frame to cramp simultaneously. While attempting a side tricep pose, Dillett's muscles locked up entirely. He became a living statue, frozen in time, unable to move a single joint or even call for help. The venue fell silent as event handlers rushed onto the stage to carry his rigid body off on a stretcher. Medical staff spent hours trying to rehydrate him, as he had come dangerously close to organ failure and cardiac arrest. Dillett survived and returned to competition, but the event forever altered his career and remains a chilling reminder of the dangers of extreme bodybuilding prep. Number 3. Zach Khan. Zach King. Khan was the ultimate British bodybuilding phenomenon, a genetic freak who achieved massive underground fame for his brutal heavy training, 24-inch arms, and ungodly mass. After dominating the British national circuit and securing his long-awaited IFBB Pro card, industry experts and fans widely tipped Khan to be the next superstar capable of disrupting the top tier of the Mr. Olympia stage. But in June 2010, right on the edge of his professional debut, tragedy struck in the most brutal way imaginable. While performing heavy hack squats in the gym, both of Khan's quadriceps tendons snapped clean off the bone under the load. The tear completely detached his leg muscles from his knees, sending him crashing to the floor in agony. The injury was so severe that doctors had to perform reconstructive surgery on both knees, leaving Khan bedridden and confined to a wheelchair for months as his legs atrophied. Through pure grit, Khan relearned how to walk and spent years in painful rehabilitation just to step back into a gym. Against all odds, he eventually returned to a professional stage years later. But the trauma to his lower body meant he could never again recreate the quad sweep and thickness that once made him the most feared prospect in the world. Number 4. Jean-Pierre Fuchs, Swiss mass monster. Jean-Pierre Fuchs was a towering powerhouse in the late 1990s, famous for bringing a level of mass, density, and thickness that rivaled legendary figures like Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman. Weighing well over 300 pounds in the off-season, Fuchs built his physique on ultra-heavy, ego-free compound lifting. But his career came to a heartbreaking halt in May 2002 during a promotional photo shoot for a fitness magazine. Fu was asked to perform a back squat using 675 pounds for the camera. As he descended into the bottom position, his knees suddenly buckled under the weight. In an instant, both of his patellar tendons ruptured, tearing clean off his kneecaps. The sound of tearing muscle and popping tendons echoed through the gym as the barbell pinned his collapsing body to the floor. People in the gym rushed to lift the steel off his broken frame while Fux lay on the floor in agony. Medical personnel rushed him to the hospital for emergency surgery. The accident destroyed his knees beyond repair, ending his professional bodybuilding career on the spot. Fux spent years in painful physical therapy simply to walk without a limp, leaving his potential as one of the greatest mass monsters forever unfulfilled. Number 5. Flex Wheeler. Referred to by Arnold Schwarzenegger as one of the greatest bodybuilders he had ever laid eyes upon, Kenneth Flex Wheeler possessed a physique that defined physical perfection. With his tiny waist, flowing muscle bellies, incredible symmetry, and zero structural flaws, Flex earned the title the Sultan of Symmetry and won 4 Arnold Classic titles. Yet behind his trophies lay a life plagued by physical trauma, life-threatening accidents, and severe health crises. In 1994, at the height of his physical powers, Flex was involved in a high-speed car crash that fractured his neck, nearly leaving him permanently paralyzed. Showing unbelievable resilience, he rebuilt his shattered body and returned to win multiple titles. But his body was fighting an invisible enemy from within. In 1999, Flex was diagnosed with a rare, aggressive genetic kidney disease called focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, which forced him into early retirement and eventually required a kidney transplant to save his life. Decades of severe vascular disease and circulatory complications continued to batter his body long after retirement. The tragic climax came in late 2019 when blood clots in his lower right leg became life-threatening. Doctors were left with no choice but to perform an emergency partial amputation of his right leg. Despite losing his leg and enduring dozens of surgeries, Flex remains an inspirational figure in the fitness community, proving that true strength lies in the spirit rather than the muscle. Number 6. Dorian Yates, 6-time Mr. Olympia winner. Dorian the Shadow. Yates fundamentally revolutionized the sport of bodybuilding. Emerging from a dungeon-like gym in Birmingham, England, Yates ushered in the mass monster era by stepping on stage at a bone-dry 260 pounds with unmatched density, thick skin, and a back that looked like carved oak. His physique was forged through his legendary blood and guts training philosophy, taking single sets to absolute failure with extreme weights, which exacted a permanent toll on his tendons. The warning signs began in 1994 when Yates tore his left bicep while preparing for the Mr. Olympia. Refusing to step down, he pushed through the pain, modified his training, and retained his crown. But the career-ending blow arrived just 3 weeks before the 1997 Mr. Olympia. While performing heavy bent-over barbell rows, his left triceps tendon snapped completely off the bone, leaving his arm deformed and functionally compromised. Knowing that pulling out would mean losing his title, Yates kept the injury secret from the public and media. He loaded his body with painkillers, wrapped his arm, and stepped onto the stage in agony, winning his 6th consecutive Sando trophy. But the damage to his arm was irreversible. Doctors warned him that another heavy workout could result in permanent loss of arm function, forcing the reigning king of bodybuilding into permanent retirement at the peak of his dominance. Number 7. Victor Martinez. Victor Martinez from the Dominican Republic was widely considered the natural heir to the Mr. Olympia throne after his controversial second-place finish to Jay Cutler in 2007, a decision fans still debate today. With massive size, round muscle bellies, and beautiful proportions, Victor had the tools to rule the sport for a decade. But his path to glory was repeatedly derailed by injuries, personal loss, and legal trouble. Shortly after his 2007 runner-up finish, Victor tore a patellar tendon doing simple warm-up lunges, forcing him into surgery and sidelining him for over a year. After years rebuilding his physique, he won the Arnold Classic Europe in Spain in late 2011, proving he was back. But on returning to the U.S., visa complications led to his arrest and detention in an immigration facility. Victor spent nearly 7 months locked up without proper nutrition, supplements, or gym equipment. By the time he was released and cleared of all charges, he had lost over 40 pounds of muscle and looked physically unrecognizable. He rebuilt his body once again and returned to the IFBB Pro stage, but the years lost to injury and incarceration meant he never reclaimed his prime form. Number 8. Roly Winkler. Renowned for some of the most massive arms, forearms, and triceps in bodybuilding history, Curaçao's Roly the Beast Winkler was a fan favorite on the Mr. Olympia stage for over 10 years. His cartoonish proportions, absurd thickness, and humble personality earned him the People's Champion Award at the 2018 Mr. Olympia, where he finished in the top 3. But behind his stage presence was a body constantly fighting physical trauma. The first major blow came in early 2014 when Roly was in a motorcycle crash that left him hospitalized with traumatic injuries and deep lacerations. The accident forced him to withdraw from competitions for months of rehab. He made a heroic comeback, but years of heavy lifting caught up with his joints, leading to chronic shoulder, knee, and wrist injuries that needed repeated treatment. As he pushed into his 40s, nerve damage, joint pain, and digestive issues began taking a visible toll. During his final appearances, fans watched his signature 3D mass and sharp conditioning deteriorate, with abdominal swelling and muscle loss altering his iconic silhouette. Unable to train with the intensity his size required, the Beast was forced to walk away from competitive bodybuilding. Number 9. Kevin Levrone. Known as the Maryland Muscle Machine, Kevin Levrone is celebrated as one of the most talented, genetically gifted bodybuilders in history. With 23 IFBB Pro Show wins and 4 Mr. Olympia runner-up finishes, Levrone had an iconic physique with boulder-like shoulders, a thick chest, and a razor-thin waist. But his legendary career was a relentless battle against injuries that would have ended most other lifters' careers for good. In 1993, while attempting a 600-pound bench press during an off-season workout, Levrone tore his major pectoral muscle completely. The tear was so severe that doctors had to perform reconstructive surgery to reattach his chest muscle to the bone, warning him his career was likely over. Defying the odds, Levrone rebuilt his upper body in less than a year, returning to win the 1994 Arnold Classic. His body kept paying a price for his explosive training style. Over the following decade, Levrone suffered torn hamstrings, chronic shoulder impactions, and knee damage that hurt his leg development late in his career. Despite fixing his broken body again and again to challenge legends like Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman, these recurring injuries kept sabotaging his conditioning, stopping him just short of the elusive Sando Trophy. Number 10. Ronnie Coleman. 8-time Mr. Olympia. King Ronnie, the King Coleman, built the most dominant, dense, and terrifyingly massive physique the world has ever seen. Standing as the gold standard of bodybuilding, Coleman redefined human limits by combining unbelievable mass with razor-sharp conditioning. His legendary training videos, showing him squatting 800 pounds for reps and deadlifting 800 pounds in a public gym, became iconic fitness history. But the strain he placed on his skeletal structure eventually came with a life-altering price. Behind his 8 Olympia victories, Coleman was secretly competing with herniated discs, severe spinal damage, and crushed nerves. Driven by an unmatched work ethic and refusal to quit, he took heavy painkillers and kept lifting massive weights for years when his body was screaming for rest. After retiring in 2007, the structural damage to his spine and hips caught up with him in full force, leading to a decades-long medical nightmare. To date, Coleman has undergone over 13 major surgeries, including spinal fusions, hip replacements, and the insertion of dozens of screws, cages, and titanium rods into his back. The surgeries caused nerve damage, reducing feeling in his legs and leaving his once godlike legs heavily atrophied. Today, the undisputed king of bodybuilding relies on crutches and a wheelchair to move around. Yet Coleman remains without regret, famously declaring his only regret was not doing 4 reps instead of 2 on his legendary 800-pound squat.